I could build a spaceship.
Hello and welcome to Space Doc Jury Minisode. I don't know where we are nowadays.
To be determined.
TBD. I'm Lee.
I'm Peter.
And I'm Andy.
And this week we have a little minisode. We are probably going to be a little bit south of the actual date because of the way that we record and the way things move. But basically, it's 20 years since Star Trek First Contact. That the one good Next Generation movie.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Certainly the best. I'll go as far as that.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, let's leave the Next Generation movies for a completely separate minisode.
Probably a separate podcast, actually.
Yeah, probably. And on top of that, we had a release recently of the movie The Arrival, and this got us all thinking about First Contact movies. See how it works there? So we're...
Well, a segue, mate. It's like, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh.
Yeah, always think.
It's coming left. No, it's coming right. It's like,
yeah. Look at that. Left, right. Where is he? Ooh, you want to take the helmet off? Solo.
Surprise ending. Oh, wait, no, we're back at Star Wars.
Back at Star Wars. Anyway, so random opening. So basically, we were going to talk about First Contact with different species, what crews you would have sort of doing First Contact, what were the best First Contacts films, examples of First Contact in books and media and other methods, and, just talk about that, because you know what? Sometimes First Contact doesn't always go the way you expect it. And
in fact, I think in fiction it almost never goes how they plan. It usually ends up in either a massive war, some evil alien is planning to harvest us for whatever reason, or some other nefarious plots.
So basically that was our thing, tying into the anniversary of First Contact, Star Trek First Contact, and The Arrival, which is a First Contact situation. And so we thought
we should just let everyone know we're going to talk about The Arrival later on.
Yes.
If you haven't seen it, don't listen. We'll give you a warning before we get to it, but this is fair warning up front.
Yeah.
Do not listen unless you have seen The Arrival.
Yes.
Because it's a really good film, but you need to go into it cold.
Yeah, basically, spoilers for The Arrival going forward. Probably best, in fact, in safety, it's probably best just to leave this episode here, just in case anything comes up. Leave it here, go watch the film, come back.
Watch the film.
And then...
No, really, go watch the film. It's a great film.
Yeah,
it's really, really good. Yeah, honestly. We're not going anywhere. Pause us. Go watch the film. We'll be here in a couple of hours.
It's the miracle.
My eyeballs will thank you.
Yes, it's a miracle of digital media. So we'll just wait. Hold on. And we're back. Hello, everyone.
Hey!
What did you think of The Arrival? You liked it? Brilliant. Okay, right, fine. We're going to carry on talking about it. Unless, of course, you're two people who I know, but they're miserable. Anyway. So
hang on. There are only two people you know and they're miserable. Andy?
What? You've known me long enough, haven't you?
I was going to say, hang on. We've got over 50 episodes worth of proof. Anyway, so let's get talking about First Contact. So, I guess let's think of a film each, or a book, or a comic, or a game, or anything, which you think is the ideal First Contact. What do you think that would be? What one would it be? We'll go round and everyone can just pick one, and it doesn't have, like I say, it doesn't have to be film. It can be books, TV, films. It can be comics. You name it. So, Andy, what is your ideal First Contact scenario as portrayed in the media?
Well, the only one I can actually think of to my head, which didn't result in everyone being horribly butchered or a war or something like that, is probably the one from First Contact. Yep. Star Trek film.
That was the only one I could think of too. Plus, it ends up in a pub, which is always a good result, isn't it?
It ends up in a pub with a bit of Steppenwolf. That's always nice. But it's still a case of you get benevolent aliens land with no nefarious sort of, we're playing nice now because we're planning on harvesting your organs 5 minutes later. And, they kind of, granted if you watch Enterprise begrudgingly, but still they kind of embrace, share the technology and,
And of course, if you're in the wrong universe, then the Earth people then shoot the shit out of them.
Well, yeah. But the point is, for the humans, either way, it kind of works out pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Whereas most other first contact situations that I could think of in just about every media are either the really obscure a la Contact or whatever, where it's like, there's first contact made, but it's not, again, like E.T. Contact's made, but it's not like properly first contact. They don't really interact after the fact as far as we can tell. They don't start doing stuff. Or they go the Babylon 5 route, where they end up in a holy war, getting to the point of knocking on your doorstep, about to wipe you off the face of the universe.
Well, okay, fair enough. So you would say First Contact is your best first
it's
contact?
It's not my best. I'm just saying that was from media and from film and games and TV and all that sort of stuff. It's the only one I could think of where, it kind of worked out okay.
Okay, I can think of another one.
Go on then.
Oh, yeah?
Which only goes pear-shaped sort of tangentially.
Go on then.
Which is 2001. Because the actual First Contact business goes quite well.
Yeah.
I mean, all right, the computer's gone mad, but that doesn't stop the First Contact happening, and it doesn't stop it going well, actually, ultimately.
Well, you could argue that the very first contact was with the monkeys.
Yeah. It's been an ongoing first
Davey D. What was it?
yeah,
exactly.
Mickey Dolenz.
With a monkey. It didn't shave back in the 70s, mate. 60s.
Peter Talk.
And then you put it on Moon, the TMA-01, which I seem to recall fried the ears of everyone there.
Yeah, but that's fairly small cheese compared to what normally goes south.
Yeah,
I was going to situation.
I was going to say, thinking about it, I put up with some tinnitus.
Yeah, it's a small price to pay.
Yeah, compared to someone's just turned up and want to eat my brains.
I would got bloody gun ports open again.
if you go through the certainly more so with the books than the film, that's less of a first contact. More humanity managed to stumble alongside this thing, almost getting wiped out at every point, but managing to avoid it. Because
that's the result for us, really. Just look at 2016.
Really
yeah,
because in 2010 you have it accidentally makes Jupiter into a new star.
Yeah,
which Elton loves that story.
Yeah,
and then in 2061, I think is the next one. All of a sudden you find Hal and Dave have merged into one entity, and
you're the guy who read that book.
I'm I read the other one as well. In 3001, they decide they're going to erase mankind. Arthur C. Clarke is not renowned for finishing stories well.
No.
Be it 2001 or the Rama series. Read the first two. You're fairly safe there. After that, it goes a bit schwonky.
Well, yeah. He was too busy fiddling about with boys on Sri Lanka at that point, to be honest.
Allegedly.
My lawyer has just asked me to distance myself from the comments of Mr. Lee Metcalf.
Oh well, like I say, it's an alleged thing and well documented in a number of news sources. So I feel fairly safe in saying allegedly.
In any event, he's dead, so fine.
Yeah,
but my point is, the first two books.
Fuck that guy then.
Yeah, it's not like his estate or anyone associated with it would come after.
It's not
us.
like he's well renowned or anything. Nobody thinks of him these days.
Anyway, moving swiftly on.
Well, there you go.
Have you got any good...
That's what we have to call this episode.
Yeah. Welcome to episode Blur called Libel.
Yeah.
Anyway, I've got a few actually. I had a little think about it. Sorry,
where it went well.
Yeah. Well,
Go.
That went well. Okay. Well, let's start with an interesting one. How about Solaris?
Oh yeah.
Which basically has, let's do the modern remake because there's more people who are likely to see that than the Stanislaw Lem version, Tartakovsky version. Basically, it's George Clooney on a space station, which apparently has been abandoned or people have gone bonkers, and at first you think, oh, it's going to turn into some kind of horror thing, but actually it turns out that the planet below is actually alive. And the planet below is alive and communicating with the people in the space station using their memories, using
dreams, wasn't it?
Using dreams and using simulacrums based upon their memories. So, like his lost love comes back to him and starts talking to him. And so that's a first contact, which
sounds like a barrel of laughs.
Well, it is a bit of a dour drama, and it's sort of emotional roller coaster, if you will. But the point is, it's not with malicious intent. It's purely the planet itself is alive and essentially wanting to communicate with the tiny little beings that are in a little tin can floating around it, and they just can't handle it. That's very 2001 in that respect. Another one, which immediately comes to mind, and I'm really surprised that neither of you came up with it, or at least thought about it, is Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Well, I may have a confession to make there.
You don't like it, or you've never seen it?
I've never seen it.
Good.
And the main reason I haven't seen it is fear of your reaction if I didn't like it.
Cue Donald Sutherland kind of screaming at the.
I mean, to be quite honest, it's a film that's very dear to my heart, and it has a lot of emotional resonance with me, and that's purely me. If someone doesn't like it, that's perfectly up to them. I can't make them like something. I will judge them because I have a very strong reaction to it, but that doesn't mean to say that they're wrong for not liking it. So don't worry. Don't panic on that one.
Yeah. So all you people out there who like The Fifth Element, they don't mind.
No, I haven't. That.
No, you can go fuck yourself.
Yeah. That's a different kettle of fish. That is basically you can go fuck yourselves because you clearly have no taste at all. The
true Lee Metcalf is revealed.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, let the hate flow through you.
Good. No. So no. Anyone who likes The Fifth Element and will willingly watch it again without ironically thinking I'm watching a perfume ad can go fuck themselves. As far as I'm concerned. That's something I will judge you on entirely.
He won't only judge you; he'll turn up on your doorstep
and sit there for 20 minutes telling you exactly why you're wrong. So yeah, I mean, Close Encounters. Is a good one. And for me, that's a really good one because, like The Arrival, it's more about understanding and communication and trying to understand what it is that the other side is trying to tell you, or at least make a contact whereby further communication could carry on from there. And to me, that's a really good, optimistic, upbeat film that is creepy, but, in its initial stages. But again, the creepiness comes from the fear of the unknown rather than any malicious intent.
Yeah.
So, again, I thought that went well, but I have one more. Just one more, and then I'll...
Is this a went well? Is it another one that went well, yeah?
That went well. It nearly didn't. Okay. It nearly didn't, and this may be cheating for something that's, for a podcast primarily based in space. But The Abyss.
Oh.
Oh, yeah, no, I absolutely...
It's definitely science fiction, The Abyss, isn't
Science fiction, and definitely aliens.
It's heavily implied. Well, I don't think it's heavily implied. It can certainly be read that the aliens, in finger quotes, they may be living at the bottom of the sea, but they're not necessarily indigenous to it.
Yes, exactly. And even though they turned up on a big plastic pizza at the end, which ruined it entirely,
yes.
the book itself is actually written by a massive racist and homophobe. Apart from those two things, I think the story and everything is actually really well done. And yeah, I thought,
I've only ever seen it once, and that was back when you covered it for The Black Dog. And I honestly can't remember what I thought of it now. I seem to remember it was a bit dull in places.
Yeah, but it's overlong, it's overindulgent. But
especially the director's cut.
Yeah, oh God Almighty. Yeah, don't get an editor into James Cameron and just let them take over and lock James out. Just nothing should go over 2.5 hours if it's just telling a story about people talking to a jellyfish. It really shouldn't. So those are the ones where I thought, though, because they all share a very similar kind of theme. One of misunderstanding leading to conflict, but ultimately resolution through communication. Which is there is definitely a moment in both of them where the gung ho military sorts,
fall back on the old adage of, if we can't understand them, they must be hostile. Ergo, we must destroy them.
Yes, exactly. By saying nothing, that means everything. Yes. Yeah. So
again, in fact, to quote a line in The Arrival, why does he have to be here?
Yeah, exactly. Why am I talking to him?
Yeah.
Yeah. So cool. So those are good examples of first contact, I think.
We can also probably say Contact.
Yes.
You know, say what you will about the film.
Yes.
The aliens made contact and nothing terribly bad happened.
You can also
to humanity then.
Yeah. And if you ignore the Klingons, who kind of did a bit of an issue, I mean, you could also say Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
With V'Ger.
Yeah, with V'Ger.
Eventually, yes. It takes a bloody long time, though, doesn't it?
Well, in fairness, it does uphold that story of, you know, uphold the phrase about, you know, it's not the arrival, it's the journey.
Yeah, it's a shame the journey had to be so fucking tedious.
Well, yes, indeed.
I mean, again, you know, Star Trek is ubiquitous, full of bloody first contact scenarios, but usually they're either very, very boring. Or it's because something's gone wrong. Like, oh look,
usually
we're spying on this primitive species, and they've accidentally figured out who we are, and now we have to deal with a mess.
No, how will Riker escape from this? By having sex with this person here. Oh well, that'll solve the problem then.
Also known as the Kirk doctrine.
Yes, yeah.
But it's always far worse with Riker. I mean, I think Riker's purpose in life was to make Kirk seem quite chaste and serene in comparison.
That's the Riker maneuver for you, isn't it? You know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's that straddling the chair backwards business.
Yep.
That's what it is, because his balls are so big.
Yep, that's where you get your first contact with Riker.
Yeah, exactly. First
first.
First contact is with the shaft. Dear. Well, okay then. So, of all of our, you know, we haven't gone into the bad first contacts because there's plenty of them. But
yes.
Oh, someone's crackling.
Mr. Andy, I think.
Oh dear.
Probably me.
Probably you.
That Crackle Bob again.
Yeah. But looking at first contacts, there is usually a crew that go out and make those first contacts. If you were going to pick a team, and I'm not just talking about from any one universe, you could pick like multiple people from different places, from different crews, to form like the super group. You know, form the travelling Wilburys of science fiction. You know, science fiction first contact units. Who would you send? And I'll chuck that at Pete first. Give him.
Oh, bugger! Because again, all I can think of are the ones who could cock it up in a big way.
God, okay.
I suppose Picard's a fairly safe bet, isn't he? I mean, he is the diplomat.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
And he usually manages to rescue the situation from whatever Riker's cocked up.
Yeah. So you wouldn't send Riker. It's basically another one.
And I'd have Troy on board as well, but
that's just.
But that's just to be in your cabin, is it?
I was going to say that's just a personal preference from afar, isn't it? That's not really helping the mission any.
Well, it's keeping Peter out of the way, which I think is a definite boon.
Amy Adams, definitely Amy Adams.
Yes, linguist. So we got a linguist, we got a diplomat. Okay, cool. So what about anyone else? Would you bring anyone who's a bit more warlike, a bit more hawkish?
Yes, I guess I'd bring Brigadier Alistair Lethbridge Stewart, because on a good day, he's actually pretty good at that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Depending on who's writing the script for that particular story.
And on a bad day,
he'll just open fire.
Yeah, he'll just shoot you in the face.
Or claim that he's landed on Cromer Beach for no good reason either. So
invaded Paris in a tank. Oh, and that's just Mike from Space.
Yeah, basically, when the Brigadier is badly written, he is Mike from Space.
All right,
never going to be able to watch that again now without seeing.
Timmy, fetch me my tools.
If you watch, get a chance to watch some original Who, watch the Three Doctors, and yes, that's Space all over.
So I've got a vision of him standing outside the TARDIS going, I've been naughty.
Broke it.
K9 suddenly gets updated with some missiles mounted on the side.
Yeah, the fuck you stopist.
War bastard. Okay.
You realise half the people listening to this cast have no frame of reference whatsoever.
Then, in which case, we'll take another pause out and go and watch all 14 episodes of Spaced. We'll wait.
Yeah, seriously, go do that now.
And all 50-odd years of Doctor Who, for good measure.
Well,
you said that.
we can't wait for that long.
No.
And we'll lose half our people to old age at that point.
Yeah.
So that's your hawk, your diplomat, and your linguist. So, is there anyone else you would bring along, or is that your ideal super team?
Yeah, not Lumi for starters, I think. Yeah.
Cool. Okay, then same question to you, Andy. What's your super team? Let's say you got 3 people just to make it even with Pete.
All right, so I've got 3 people I'm taking for a first contact situation.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think who's rocking command for my team would be the one, the only, the Commander Shepard.
Okay.
Because it doesn't matter. Diplomat, he's got it covered. You know, if it's a threat, he'll sort it out. If it's female, he's going to bang it. You know, he's got all bases covered there.
And he's also going to, if he sees something he doesn't like, he's going to call it a stupid jellyfish. That's
exactly
great. Yeah, so he's got a little bit of racism in there for good measure. That's handy.
Mate, just because you pulled the renegade trigger, don't put that on me, man. Your hang-ups are your own hang-ups.
On the basis of my not playing it for very long, at least I know with Shepard you get lots of options rather than too many, actually.
Yeah. Well,
just get on with the plot.
No, it's quite easy to figure out. If it's blue, it's good. If it's red, it's bad. Top left is a positive. Bottom right is a negative.
Yeah. But also, in Mass Effect 2, you get these kind of emotional triggers, literally, where basically in the middle of a scene, something will be happening and you'll either get a renegade moment flash up where you can interrupt the scene, or a paragon. And sometimes those renegade ones can be a little extreme. so
what is it in the face?
Yeah. So sometimes you can shoot people in the face or throw them out of windows accidentally just because this thing's flashed up and you go, ooh! you twitch and hit a button and literally goes, yeah, you know what? You can take the easy way down and out the window and throw a bloke out. And it's like, oh, that's not quite what I was after.
My evening is full of regrets.
Exactly.
But as I said, I think that speaks more to Mr. Medcalf's character than mine. So my Shepard would be a perfect gentleman and an excellent diplomat. So Yabu sucks to you. Yeah. Who else do I need? So I'm going to need some sort of linguist, or at least someone who can at least understand these folks, because I'm guessing I don't have a babel fish in my ear.
No.
I do.
Well, maybe
no, I
you
don't.
do.
I don't know. I'm inclined to... I mean, Amy Adams is all well and good, but it did take how many months to figure out what they were saying?
Quite a few.
Quite a few. Whereas I seem to recall that Uhura or Hoshi from Enterprise managed to translate Klingon in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, Uhura did do a great job of it. She had that great big book for no good adequately explained reason.
Oh, that was in 6, wasn't it?
Yeah, and let's be honest. You know, Uhura's always got that moment of kind of turning into your mad nan at a wedding do, and sort of fan dancing on the table. You really don't want that.
Again, that's the original one. But you know what?
Diplomatic
you make a good
functions.
Point, well made. I'm going to take some sort of artificial life form, I think. I see the problem with Data is he's always getting bloody hacked.
Yeah, he's a liability.
He is. You know, it's been a while since they installed the bloody firewalls on Data, so he is a bloody liability.
He needs malware bytes installed.
He fucking does. You know, I mean, seriously, every other episode.
So many times, so many times.
In fact, I think in one episode you can actually see the virus finish downloading, and he looks up, blinks, and then floods the bridge full of gas.
As long as you don't see his pop-ups, that'll be fine.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Cortana from the Halo series.
Okay.
The computer, because at the end of the day, you know, she's massively intelligent supercomputer, can diagnose and translate the language pretty damn sharp-edged, and can hack their computers, so we can find out if they're, you know, really good or not. Why not? And what was the third one on Pete's team?
Like a hawkish person, just someone to give it a bit more.
Someone if you need a bit of backup with guns.
Yeah,
I've already got Shepard. I've kind of got that one covered, haven't I?
Well, yeah, but you know, they've got to take their own specific roles. I guess you can't just have one, because otherwise you just chuck Shepard in and just say he can do everything and be done with it, because he is space Jesus for the most part.
Well, fuck it. I've gone for Cortana. I'll go over Master Chief as the muscle.
As the muscle. Okay.
The muscle, yeah. They kind of come as a pair anyway, so you know.
Fair enough. Okay. Well, okay, I suppose for me, I don't know. So I think for diplomats, I think my I think my team will probably fail because I think for diplomacy, I would probably go for John Sheridan.
Get the hell out of my galaxy.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, but the thing is, when he did end up running the Interstellar Alliance, and
badly. It went horribly wrong for him.
Yeah, season 5. I'd have probably gone with Sinclair over Sheridan.
Yeah, except for the fact that he would have bored everyone to sleep and beamed them thousands of years into the past. But apart from that...
But my point is, there was no war.
Yeah.
But they won.
Actually.
Yeah, he was on the winning side. That's the important thing.
Yeah, if you go back far enough in time, you can go back and fix anything.
Hey, he's such a diplomat, he actually becomes the other species he's trying to make contact with. I mean, that's hardcore diplomat.
Yeah, I was going to say, he commits.
Yeah.
There's going native, and then there's literally becoming the Jesus figure of the other side.
Yeah, well, but I still think, a bit of gunboat diplomacy. I think Sheridan's up there. I think he'd be able to do it. He can handle things. He can... I mean, I won't do Ivanova, but yeah, I think Sheridan can do it.
I don't know. I thought she did pretty well, actually.
She showed remarkable restraint.
Yes.
Yeah, but that's the problem, isn't it? Restraint. You don't really want people showing restraint. You want people to be effortlessly diplomatic. So yeah, I think Sheridan would be a good one. I would probably for a bit of science. I would more than likely have, for a bit of science and linguistics, I would have Rick Sanchez, because nothing.
Well, at this point, yeah, it's your team has failed.
No, because he actually he actually develops an entire universe and tells them how to communicate, and to the point where one finger flipping everyone the bird is the universal symbol for peace, love, and harmony. If you can convince
what do you think's going to happen when that universe finds out what it actually means?
Well, they won't, will they? Because it's their universe. They don't see outside the universe. Think big, man. You got to think outside the box, or the car battery, as it is.
The box is there for a reason. It's to keep people like you away from civilization.
Yeah, indeed. And for a bit of muscle, I think. Now, what would I do? I mean, again, we want a bit of diplomacy, but just a little bit of restraint, but a hint of ultra violence if necessary. So I think probably Judge Dredd.
There is no way I cannot see this ending well.
Because Dredd is a man who will stick to the law. He has the control. He has the ability to threaten and impose and be he can be there and basically intimidate if necessary. But he respects the chain of command and will step back if needed.
But isn't the law his interpretation of the law?
No,
which he religiously.
Yeah, but it's the law is absolute. There is no interpretation of the law. There is just the law.
Okay. So he turns up on the planet with a load of people enjoying this lovely sugary treat.
Yeah, but that's their law.
Yes, but that's my point. He respects his law.
Yeah, but I'm not bringing him along as a lawgiver. I'm bringing him along as intimidation and muscle.
All I can say is the situation goes something like this, I imagine.
Yeah.
Your team arrives on the planet. Rick immediately disappears off to go and do something nefarious, probably involving some sort of hive mind. We're probably best not knowing about it. John Sheridan gets into a self-grandizing argument about how he is right and everyone else is wrong. And Dredd sees someone, jaywalking across the road, and pulls out a lawgiver and puts 2 shots in him. Is that about right?
That's about it. Yeah.
And in no situation does that not end with us basically saying, "See, bitches, this is how it is. You now do diplomacy with my department back here." These guys are the forward. These guys...
Hang on. There's news just coming in. Apparently, Lee Metcalf has been appointed ambassador to the United States by Donald Trump.
Apparently, I get on really well with him. I have the same point of view.
Well, in the spirit of Lee's fantastic diplomatic team, shall we all nominate what we think are some of our worst first contact experiences?
Yeah, sure, go for it. So go on, and what's your worst first contact? Yeah, I think that is fairly disastrous.
That was yeah.
Wipe out all the army and then come and visit Congress. Hey,
yeah. Yeah, that's definitely not a good one, is it? Really?
You've got a wonderful politicking president.
Yeah.
In who's like, how's this going to look in the papers tomorrow?
Yeah, this didn't go too well, but how can we spin this?
Yeah. I think for me, in terms of them going rather poorly, I don't think you can get much worse from the humans in Minbari.
That's something
of an understatement. I think you'll agree.
Yeah.
To the fact that it led to a war which almost effectively wiped out the species, got right to the door of Earth, and it was literally an act of God stopped it.
And the dickishness on both sides as well, Here's my ultimate sign of peace, showing you all my guns.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, that'll do the job, won't it?
And send a hawkish commander who we're not going to take any shit from anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's not going to work well. Okie dokie. Well, what about you then, Pete? What's your most disastrous first contact situation?
Oh, yeah. And generally anything that involves Riker, anything that involves Will Smith, that's not
good. The ball didn't go down terribly well, it must be said.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, we've made contact. Yeah, signal. Hail them, Mr. Wolf. Oh, they appear to have cut 12 decks away and beamed out half our crew.
Whoops.
Okay.
Yeah. And an interesting one, and this is a very small scale first contact, so it doesn't sort of impact badly on the whole world or anything, but a fascinating film about sort of deterioration in a first contact, I guess, would be The Man Who Fell to Earth.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
And worth watching just for the fact that David Bowie is an alien. And no acting involved. He is an alien.
Yeah, it doesn't take a lot, does it? I mean, he was definitely cast the type there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true, actually. Yeah, I mean, for me, that was a really good one, actually. I've kind of all mine a bit of shit, really, compared to that.
Sorry, I pulled the art house
that's good.
too early, didn't I?
No, that's good. I was gonna. Well, if you want to do art house, then you just say Under the Skin. Because I mean, that's a first contact.
First contact that goes horribly, horribly wrong in goo.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. It has such great.
God, I really regret watching that film. and it was the night that Anne-Marie was out because I knew she didn't want to watch it.
It was the night that Anne-Marie was out and just happened to star
naked.
All
right. That might have been another reason as well.
Naked Scarlett Johansson.
Put it this way: if that was what I was hoping for, I really, really was very disappointed. Oh, that was so creepy.
Yeah, that wasn't a good first contact. But you could see how people would be lured into thinking it would be a great first contact. But
on paper,
yeah. Have you seen it, Andy? By the way,
yes, I have. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I was just going to say. So on paper, naked Scarlett Johansson would like you to get in her van and drive off with her.
Yeah.
For shall we say, interspecies relationships. And
I would point out, though, since it's directed by Jonathan Glazer, that's the hint right there.
Yeah.
It's directed by Jonathan Glazer.
Yeah, it wasn't going to go well, to be honest. But but that goes south pretty quickly. But
not a good
one. But my I suppose my ultimate oh dear terrible idea first contact is pretty much the Alien series.
Yes.
I think as far as that goes, and that includes Prometheus, sadly. Because
I was about to say, I mean, are we sure at what point we actually have first contact? Because they keep rewriting these bloody things.
Well, that's very true. But it's first contact on a ship-by-ship basis, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, because, if you don't know anyone else has done it, then every time's the first time.
Yeah, but if your first contact protocol consists of looking in the squishy egg, that's not a good start.
Well, no, and if or waking someone up after 2,000 years sleep and then talking to them in gibberish with a robot. I mean, let's be honest. No one wakes up not grouchy after a long sleep. so don't wake up a 9 foot tall roided biomechanical bloke and go shuntilly tuck at him and then expect him to be all happy about it. I mean, just, at least turn up with a coffee.
To be fair, I think he was most pissed off. He woke up and realised he was in the Prometheus film. He was like,
Exactly.
Where's my agent?
Yes.
What have I done? But, at least bring him a coffee. I mean, something. Just get him started. So that didn't. None of the Alien series works well as first contact.
To be fair, it is very much a token part of the Alien films. Is at no point does it end well for the people encountering the alien.
Exactly. And I guess on that note, you could probably do Predator as well.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know, Predator 2.
Well,
he got given a pistol out of it.
Yeah. Oh right. So half the criminal underworld of LA and most of the police officers get killed. However, he gets a replica pistol that you could have got from like any gift shop in Morocco for like 20 quid.
On the upside, he did get to survive the explosion of the spaceship, which was pretty.
Yes.
I think that was more of a gift, really.
Yeah.
But how the hell did he survive that? And he's just got a bit of grey dust on him? Really?
Yeah. Yeah, so that's that. That was a fairly piss poor first contact, if we're honest.
Yes, yeah. Yeah.
Okie dokie.
And let's face it, any first contact in Doctor Who always consists of some part of southern Britain being invaded, so that's never good.
Yeah, Doctor Who's not a good... Well, unless, of course, you talk about the Companions, because the Companions' first contact with a Time Lord is always good.
Ah, yes, if your first contact happens to be with the Doctor, then you're in for a very exciting life, but yes, you're safe.
And a limited lifespan, usually, as a rule. Okay, so what about anything else? Any other notable first contacts before we wrap this up?
Wow, I don't know. I mean, again, there's lots of films I can think, again, we haven't really talked a huge amount about the Arrival, but it's very, very good the way they portray it in that. Star Trek every other week is a first contact situation about why they shouldn't initiate first contact because of the Prime Directive, and then they do it anyway.
Well, I tell you what. Actually, you brought up the Arrival. I mean, yes,
we did say we were going to.
We did say we're going to talk about that. I mean, the first contact in that is really well done. Obviously, I mean that's proper communication between species which have nothing in common at all. But how do you feel that the world reacted in that situation? Because that's the other thing we keep forgetting is we do these first contact things and we say, okay, we send the Enterprise off or whatever. But surely the one thing that we don't ever see in most of these first contact movies, except in the ones of alien invasion, is how the world sort of goes, hang on, we've just realised we're not alone in the universe anymore.
Yeah, but I mean, the interesting thing about Arrival was that rather than perhaps previous films where it's, that's magically brought the whole Earth together, which is kind of, as in First Contact Star Trek, kind of the idea, isn't it? That First Contact with the Vulcans then enabled humanity suddenly to be one glorious whole and getting on with one another. Has completely the opposite effect, of course, in Arrival. And we've got the different countries all vying with each other to get the right data, and you've got the old rivalries coming up to the surface. I mean, it seemed a lot more realistic and relatable to the real world.
Yeah, exactly. The only thing I would say, though, is the whole thing of the military reaction of let's put a shot across their bows when you're looking at spaceships that hang in the air exactly the way the bricks don't. It's like you're dealing with technology. You clearly have no chance. What do you honestly think?
The fact that it's all encouraged by far right radio programs is just it's so 2016, isn't it? It's just that film just screams, "What? Yeah, this is 2016. This is what can go wrong because there are so many fucking idiots in the world."
Yeah.
I mean, that's the other thing. I mean, when it comes to first contact, one thing that a lot of these films don't really handle, which The Arrival did really well, and obviously was the key element, was the linguistics of the whole thing, the communication itself. I mean, Arrival does it in a really interesting way, and then promptly tries to sort of skip over the majority of the working of it. do you think that was, would you like to see that kind of thing within other science fiction? Because, I mean, the thing with Star Trek, for example, or Doctor Who, tends to be this whole thing of, we've got a field that just does the translation. Or in the case of Star Trek, we've got a universal translator. How does it work?
Star Trek's literally the Babelfish, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly, the Babelfish. I mean, do you think there's, do you think Arrival is like now the gold standard for that kind of thing, or would you like to see something?
The
like
aliens
that?
are properly alien in Arrival, or constantly. Even the gravity, goes 90 degrees.
Oh God, yeah.
So that for me was the wonder of it, was the fact that they've got this immense bridge to cross to be able to communicate with these creatures that are so unlike us and make a noise that's so untranslatable. And initially you're thinking, how the hell are they ever going to make sense of these guys?
Yeah.
So I mean, that's for me. Whereas Trek, it's just the aliens just somebody with blobs on their forehead usually, and you've got the universal translator, which at worst you get that terrible season 5 episode. Darmok, where it's not so much that you speak in alien language, but when it gets translated, it's all metaphor and stories, which makes no sense whatsoever when you look into it. But that's as alien as they get.
Yeah, the problem with that's another part of communication, isn't it? Because that's the thing. Talking in metaphor is fine, but you still have to understand the language.
Exactly, you've got to be able to put the stories together to begin with in order to have the similes and the It's not stand up.
No. I mean, as a concept, it's nice, but you still end up with this whole problem of, if I don't understand context, I don't understand even just the words.
I mean, Shakar, when the walls fell. Okay, so you've got to understand what a wall is. What it means for them to fall. It requires explaining. You can't just throw that crap out. So they're when they're educating their children, they've got to have the grammar and the vocabulary in order to explain the stories in the first place for them to have any meaning to them.
Exactly, and when so when you're talking about like Arrival, the actual aliens themselves, they tend to talk. When they do talk, they're kind of they're more in they're making these kind of low sort of.
It's a rumble, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's almost like some
whale
sort of
whale song. Yeah, exactly. And that was another thing which I think a lot of aliens in science fiction generally just miss out on, the whole idea that they just, when they talk, then, because Babylon 5 tried it to start with in The Gathering and in the pilot, when you had sort of aliens talking, you'd actually hear them talking, and then the translator would be translating over the top, which they sort of rapidly dropped over the course of the season. But there was like that praying mantis black marketeer.
The graph.
Yeah.
The graph was dropped very quickly because he looked poop.
Well, he did look shit, but the
Vorlons even exactly. They had the whole
you got that.
Had the warbly sort of sound, and then
kind of thing.
The voice would be translated. Yeah,
exactly. And that I think is always something I always appreciate in SF in general, is the fact that if you got a translator, you would still hear the sound of the other thing behind. And it is like news reports when you hear the sort of like someone going, talking in the language, and then you hear someone talking in, I don't know, in sort of Geordie going, well, hey, lad, I thought this... You're thinking, hang on, this guy from France is now talking in a Geordie accent.
Jimmy Nail.
Yeah, exactly.
And of course, the lips sync perfectly with the translation rather than with whatever alien they're speaking.
Exactly. Well,
that always reminds me of that episode of The Simpsons when he goes, "How come you guys are speaking English?" He goes, "We're not. We're speaking Nigerian." But some amazing coincidence, they're both exactly the same.
The same.
Yeah. So, with Arrival, for example, I mean, the idea of the communication was obviously key, and yet this whole idea of non-linear time, I'm trying to be very careful as to what I say from here on in.
Look, at this point, we've already told everyone, if you haven't seen the film, you shouldn't be listening now.
Yeah, I'm saying that.
So go away.
I'm saying that, but I'm also thinking that there are people in my house.
I see.
Yes.
Keep it quiet.
Yes. Quiet.
I mean, that whole idea of how a language changes the way you think as well, and kind of reprograms your brain.
You don't have to whisper. I've got headphones on.
I do, because it's amazing. I love the film. That's my all film voice, you see.
Cool.
That whole way, the fact that it all reprograms your brain and hence all the time stuff. I mean, it's just so cool.
Yeah, I mean, the perception that was another thing. The whole perception of time and the way that communication wasn't necessarily linear, I think, was another thing that I think that Arrival got right, where things like Star Trek, everyone speaks
I was
in the
sitting
same
there
way
all the way through and going, "This is Emissary done with a budget."
Nice.
The whole non-linear time thing is just straight Emissary, the prophets from Deep Space Nine.
But
the heartbeat sounds.
Prophets should have looked.
without just staring literally up Sisko's nose with a bright white light behind him.
Yeah.
But the whole point of non-linear time, of communicating in ways which have multiple interpretations, not even in a way that you can easily understand, and to me that kind of stuff is just so well done in Arrival, and obviously key to the more emotional beats of the story. But in the case of just generally in science fiction, you never see anything like that. Everyone talks English, everyone's lips are synchronized, you never hear any other voices. All the aliens will speak in a particular accent, for example, like the Centauri, who all speak like this. It's like...
I mean, and partly I blame Mark Okrand for this. Because, he invented the Klingon language, which was just like any other foreign language. And most sci-fi films and TV series since have taken a leaf out of his book and gone, we can invent this language where they can say this and that means that. And it's basically just another Earth language, effectively.
Yeah.
So it's not alien.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, in some ways, a dolphin is more alien than half the stuff that's on Star Trek.
Oh, yeah. As featured in Star Trek 4.
That's a whale.
That's a whale.
Same different. It's different dialect.
Hold on. Anyway, so is there anything else from... I mean, because... again, even though we said we're going to talk about Arrival, and we are talking about it to a degree, we're kind of skimming around it, really.
Well, I think I know you've spoken about doing some sort of Black Dog special at some point. So maybe we can have a big in-depth discussion just about the Arrival, because I think it certainly warrants it. And if you don't do it on a Black Dog, we'll definitely do it here.
Yeah,
but it's a discussion I'd love to have with people, because it's such a beautiful film. Such a well-conceived and well-executed film as well, that, I think it's... I mean, I'm up for going and seeing it again. I might want to go and do it this week, because it's just when I think I want to watch it again, knowing what I know from the first time, so I can kind of just see the connective tissue now.
Yeah.
Because the first time... I mean, when I was watching it the first time with you, it's right on the line, because, we've seen films like Signs, like Contact, like Interstellar, which are highbrow science fiction, and they kind of... I want to say they're kind of a slave to their idea at the expense of the story, so that they have this very highbrow idea and they stick to their guns, and then the story suffers as a result, and then you're just left unfulfilled from it. It's like, that was a bit wank. Whereas this walked that line right up until the point of the reveal, if you will, where as soon as that penny dropped, it was like, oh my God, that was amazing. It's the bit when he pulls out his phone, and it's at that point you're just going... That was fucking genius.
Yeah. Well, actually, why do you keep showing me... And it was just that bit. Why do you keep showing me this?
It was another version of the unreliable narrator.
God. Yeah.
But done so well. And
it doesn't just have a twist, because, I mean, lots of films try a twist. I mean, Shalaman Ding Dong does it all the time, doesn't he? But
yes.
A twist with emotional impact, that's the thing.
Yeah.
A twist that actually hits you in the face with a big wet fish that's the thing. It's like, oh
yeah, and the fact, and anyone who's listening to this who thinks that the Arrival was just a Shamalama Ding Dong fucking...
This puts him to shame.
Yeah, yeah. You haven't seen it because you're not on Facebook at the moment, but on the Black Dog Facebook group, a couple of people have said that it's just a M. Night Shyamalama Ding Dong movie that's a bit slower, essentially.
Oh, my life. That's another reason not to be on Facebook, then.
Yeah, the urge to leap down the internet and throttle them was quite strong. You know who you are, if you're listening.
If they were listening, we're not listening anymore.
Yeah,
no, not anymore. Yeah. So, okay.
The thing is, I think I don't know about you, Pete, but yeah, certainly the film touched me. I know it touched Lee, and it's just so well done and executed. I still think it's the best film I've seen this year.
Oh, without a doubt.
I think it probably is. Yes.
Yeah.
It's certainly the film with the most emotional impact. Whether you class that as the best film you've seen all year or not, I don't know. But yeah,
it has a lot more. Has a lot more.
The thing with it, I think, because again, I quite like Contact until the last 10 minutes. It's the last 10 minutes of Contact because that ending is very unsatisfying. It's very unfulfilling. Literally everything up until the point when she launches through the spinny thing of doom.
Launches through her Mass Effect relay.
Exactly. When she launches through the Mass relay, and I don't really think you can blame them for ripping off Mass Effect on account it came out 10 years before.
No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
But still.
Temporal ripping off.
Yeah. But it's and even the transit is interesting. But then when you get the bit when it turns out that the aliens have taken the form of her father, and then she gets back and, you just sort of straight through. I mean, it's almost like it's this little afterthought, this little bit of exposition, this little bit of, and then they kissed, and the end. It's just, there was no, it could have done with that happening maybe at the end of Act 2, and then the third act dealing with what actually happened. That might have been better.
Well, the problem with Contact as a film is it wasn't Contact of the book, because that kind of whole thing, again, like Solaris, the whole thing of aliens communicating with you through your own memories and using your memories as a way of acting like a conduit, so sort of acting like an interface between them and you, is done so much better in the book. So the fact that she meets her dad on the shore and all this kind of thing, in the film, it feels like a throwaway. Oh, here we go. Last 5 minutes, we've got to sum this all up. Here we go. Here's your dad. Ta-da! And whereas in the book, that thing is a lot more drawn out. Again, I think Carl Sagan is the author, isn't it? And basically, what happens there is that they do that same thing that Ian Banks would later do with the culture minds, where they think so fast that everything seems, you kind of read it in a kind of linear time way and kind of going, oh, well, this happened and that happened and this happened and that happened, and then you realise that what you've been reading for the equivalent in your mind of 3 hours has happened in 3.5 nanoseconds, and you just go, whoa, fuck, that's blown my mind. And and in the book, in Contact, the book, it does that exact thing. And the portrayal of meeting your father, the father saying, "Oh, well, I've got not a lot of time to talk to you, but I'm trying to get all this into your head and communicate with you." And the interpretation thing is a lot clearer, and it doesn't feel so cheap.
Yeah.
Whereas in the film, because it's all thrown in the last 5 minutes, it's oh, okay, fine. Feels a bit meh by the end of it. Right. Anyway, so
that's a minisode then.
Yeah, that's a minisode, isn't it?
So to sum up, Star Trek, okay, Babylon 5, bad. Arrival, very good. Contact, book is better.
Yeah, I think that's
everybody got that.
Yeah, and my team, intimidating.
Wow.
Yeah.
Genocidal.
Yeah. It's not genocidal, it's just they know what they want and they're out to get it.
By any means necessary.
And they are fully equipped to do so.
But provided your teams and Rick's aims align.
Well, yeah, I mean, as long as he doesn't want one of those seeds you have to push way up your butt.
Way up there, Molly.
Way up there. Anyway, yeah.
Well, at least on the plus side, you get super intelligence for a while.
Sorry?
You get super intelligence for a while.
Yeah, exactly. You can't knock that. But, I can't help but feel that would be kind of, occupying your mind somewhat instead of the first Contact situation that we said that we should be in.
Yes.
Cool. Well, actually, there's one last First Contact to go with, and it actually relates to the episode we're about to record.
Oh, yes?
Yeah, Explorers. The film, Joe Dante, with the kids. Basically, kids get the information on how to build a ship beamed into their heads. They build
the dustbin.
Yeah,
and the TV screen.
Powder dry. and
an acorn electron.
Yeah, and yeah.
Surely Last Starfighter would have been a better citation.
Yeah, I think I would have gone with that one.
Well, all I was going to say was
play the video game. Play the video game.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, it had a much better theme tune as well. But yeah, no, again, they go out and they get basically taken to this alien spaceship where they find that the aliens are basically arseholes. But that's, as a first contact, it's still fairly successful. That's all I can say.
The fact they get
really.
anywhere in that ship is a miracle.
Well,
yeah.
Did you?
Well, to find out how it does, ladies and gentlemen, you have to tune in. If not last week, next week.
Yes,
maybe.
I don't know. Yeah. Well, see, it's all temporal mechanics. We're talking in non-temporal.
Yeah, the beginning and the end are all the same.
Why are you showing me this first episode of Space Doc Jury? What is this?
It all makes sense.
Wait, all right, lads. I've had an idea.
All right then, guys. Well, so what do you think? Who would you take out on a first contact? Your three.
I think it goes without saying that none of us would be invited along. Yeah,
exactly. Well, I don't know. I think we could do it. I think between the three of us, we'd be a perfect first contact. Pete would bring the ecumenical matters, and you would bring your big militaristic boxes.
Yes.
And I would.
This just turned into an episode of Father Ted.
Exactly. Oh my God, it is.
Wait. So is Lee Dougal or is he Mrs. Doyle?
Yeah.
No, I think he's Ted.
Okay.
And I'm Dougal, definitely.
Oh my God. So
and you're Jack.
And you're Jack.
I am absolutely fine with that. And furthermore, I know what music we're playing out to.
Yes.
Well, there you go. So just remember, Pete. It's not. Some things are very small. Other things are far away. And don't.
Those women were in the nip.
Drink.
Don't kick Bishop Brennan up the arse. And with that,
I don't know where the wheels are, but they've long since left. They've been detached as we passed through orbit.
Well, they've come off the milk float.
Well, actually, I think they're on bricks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yes, what first contact team would you have? Put it up on the Facebook group, which is facebook.com/groups/SpaceDocJury. Tell us on Twitter, which is @SpaceDocJury, and do drop us a review on iTunes, because by now it's probably almost Christmas. So come on, give us
Tis the season.
Tis the season and all that. Give us the gift of a decent review on iTunes. So, until next time, we'll speak to you all later. Till then, watch how you go there, Ted.
Cheery bye now.
Ass!
Space Doc Jury is a production of 3 Angry Beards for GeekPlanetOnline.com.